Today is Wednesday, 18th of September. I'm in a particularly good mood because well, for us who are from the southern hemisphere, it's the spring is coming, so springtime, flowers blooming, and all that. So it makes me very happy. And I'm also very happy because today we have a very special guest who came to our little community call of Kleros. It's not Vitalik, it's not Elon Musk, it's someone better. Uh, we have here JB, who is our director of engineering, the developer, who will tell us a bit about the development of Kleros 2.0 and yeah, how this is moving forward, what we have accomplished, and what is coming soon in the roadmap. We are very close. I'm very happy to say this. Very close to launch a first version. So yeah, I will let JB give you more details. Go ahead.
Hello guys, I'm in the street. I just need 2 minutes to get to a quiet
No
place.
problem. Take your time. We can start with William then.
Thank you.
William, go ahead.
Yeah, so interesting research continuing. My talk for DevCon got accepted, so I'm going to be giving a talk called Oracles for Number Values in Bangkok, where I will talk about a long-running theme of some of our research on what the sort of best way to have Kleros handle real number values is. So questions where you want the jurors to output like a real number. You might have that if you have like a decentralized insurance claim, like what is the appropriate amount of damages? If you have some kind of escrow dispute, or like what the appropriate amount of payment might be for someone who did a job partially, and all of the kind of work we do on social choice theory about like voting systems and incentive systems, and like the best way to aggregate the juror information into output a value has its own sort of spin on when you're talking about real number values. In some sense, you have more tools because since like the votes people make can be numbers, you can do things like take an average or a median. But on the other hand, you have other kinds of challenges as well. I look forward to sort of sharing an updated version of our work on that, in a few weeks. And beyond that, we have continuing on all the other sort of things we're doing that will be useful in various modules for Kleros and V2, which I look forward to JB, giving you more details about in a moment. Like SPTs, things like that.
Yeah, and while we wait a bit for JB, also worth mentioning that if you are interested in the different aspects of our research in Kleros, oracles for price decisions, like William mentioned, SBTs for choosing jurors, or other things regarding the mechanism that we have been building over the years and that we are continuously improving. There is this program we are doing with the University of Oxford, in particular with the computer science department, where you can do a PhD in computer science at Oxford under the supervision of Paul Goldberg, who is a luminary in the world of game theory, cryptoeconomics, and economic computation of equilibria. So all of the things that are involved in our, I would say, multidisciplinary research. So you can apply. Jill will share the link there in the chat, and then, well, I mean, it's highly competitive, of course, but we are currently looking for a good candidate to do this research and help us improve our mechanism. All of the things that we do research in the research team then end up becoming new features for Kleros. As you know, well, JB will explain. I can just say a bit here. The Kurt 2.0 is going to be modular, which means that it starts with a limited set of features, and then one can add new modules, like new plugins that add more, in different decision-making logics, better, SVT handling for jurors, and all of the things that we research. So the potential of the court to address more use cases increases as we move forward with more research in order to make the court efficient and secure. So if you want to become an expert in Kleros and in our mechanism design, you can go to this, apply to this PhD at Oxford. And I see Jamilia is here. I don't know if she can speak, just to mention that she's going to, well, Jamilia is one of our PhD researchers. We have Jamilia and we have Jan, and she's starting a research stay at the University of Cambridge because, Oxford is not enough. So we also wanted to have someone at Cambridge. And she's going to, do more like research in the legal aspects of Kleros, not that much in the mechanism design. If you happen to be in Cambridge and you want to meet her, there's going to be probably an event in Cambridge at some point in the future. And so hopefully this will help her to finish her PhD research. So just to mention that while we wait. You tell us when you are ready, JB. We are just, I'm trying to just make some time because you are the star. Okay, what else? Maybe while you find your place, Alex, do you want to mention something about the rewards program and the staking?
Yes, definitely. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Perfect. So regarding the governance of Kleros DAO, I have two important points that I want to highlight. So the first one, as you mentioned, Federico, is around the staking reward program. So for the ones that follow closely our governance, you might have noticed at the beginning of the year, the DAO has voted a specific reward program that it was part of the proposal PIP 66. So the idea is it's very important for Kleros protocol to have a high staking rates. So it means like for the PNK that are out there, it's very important for them to be staked. Why that? Because it's a good way to secure the system. In this sense, the DAO have chosen to really incentivize this kind of behavior. So how does it work? It's very simple. If you have some PNK, you need to stake it. It can be done on Ethereum. Usually, if you have a big amount, if you have a very small amount, it can also be done on Gnosis chain, sorry. So you stake it in some courts, and by doing that, you can draw as a jurors. And by doing drawn as a juror, you can earn some coherence reward if you vote currently. The interesting thing is with this proposal, there is an extra layer of rewards, and this is coming from the DAO. And basically, if you stake your PNK in one of those courts, you can get up to 7.5% APY on your PNK just by being staked there. So the goal, as I said, is to incentivize staking. So right now we are around 30% of all the PNK staked, which is pretty good, and it's definitely showing the resilience of Kleros and its strength. But we are really aiming for much more higher. So definitely feel free to stake. If you have any questions or issue about the process, you can reach out on our Telegram channel. We are here to help. So that's the first point. And then second point as well, right now, if you go on Snapshot, we have one proposal that is live. It's about creating a humanity court on Gnosis chain. So if you have some PNK, feel free to go there and vote with your PNK because it's important for the process. So any question, feel free to reach out in the Telegram channel.
Cool. Just to mention also that the Proof of Humanity 2.0 was launched very recently, and people can already apply to renew their profile or to make a profile there. And so this new court that is being created is in order to send the Proof of Humanity cases into this specific court, and this will have a few beneficial effects, like lowering the deposit cost for people who want to have their profile verified.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good in terms of gas fees as well. We know that right now it's pretty slow in Ethereum, but sometimes it can be very high. And I think one of the thing of having everything on Ethereum is the fact that gas fees can be super, super expensive sometimes. So yes, with this court on Gnosis chain, it will be way much cheaper.
Cool. Thank you, Alex. Marcos, do you want to, anything you want to mention? Marcos, as you know, works in business development with us, and we work very closely in the enterprise use cases in Kleros. We have been having, the bad thing about the enterprise thing is that you cannot really say anything until, you know, they allow you to, because of NDA, and institutions take a lot of care about this. So we can only tell you what they allow us to tell us, which is a bit of everything that is going on behind the scenes. Yeah, Marcos. Or if you want, or otherwise. Okay, well, if you're not ready, it's okay. JB, you let us know. Jean, anything you want to mention for now?
Yes. Okay, JB can speak now. So
okay, let's go to JB. Yeah, go ahead, JB.
Hi, everyone. So, yeah, to give an update on V2, it's true it's been a while since I talked about it. But we've been, of course, busy. The entire team has been busy for the past few weeks and months. So the core front end, for example, of V2 has been undergoing a ton of improvements, and all the changes we are making now are becoming smaller and smaller. It's really converging. Among the interesting things we've added recently, we've added support for smart account signatures, which is ERC 1271, and that allows the jurors to stake with a safe, for example. And we've had demand for this. What was happening before is that if you staked with a safe and you are drawn in a dispute that required a commit reveal, then you would have been asked to sign with your wallet, and that would have been problematic. So we've implemented this by default in V2, especially in the general court. The votes will be hidden by default, so there will be a commit reveal scheme. So two steps basically to vote, one to commit and one to reveal, which is going to make the security of the whole process also better. So the security in terms of, I should say the accuracy, I guess, of the dispute resolution.
Maybe mention briefly why this is important, because not everyone in the audience might know commit and reveal and what purpose it achieves of hiding votes and all that.
Yeah, so without the commit and reveal scheme, all the votes are public. So when the voting period opens, for the whole duration, which is probably 1 or 2 days, the first person who votes, their vote is visible to everyone else who comes later and might be influenced by that vote, to the point that if you're the last person to vote, you could be tempted to be lazy and just vote with the majority, which, as we know, is not necessarily a good strategy if there is an appeal that rolls in a different direction. But still, it's still worth basically avoiding this kind of situation. So yeah, that's for the commit and reveal. What else? Other improvements we've made to the court in the past months was adding cross-chain swaps. So it's an integration with via Li-Fi. So now you can, without leaving the court, you can go to a page. If you had some PNK on mainnet, or even if you didn't have PNK, if you had actually any token on a different chain, you can directly swap it for PNK on Arbitrum, and then that's ready for staking without leaving the app. We've done a lot of other UX improvements so that if you're, as a juror, you can see exactly in the list of cases, you can see where you have engaged. You can see where you have voted, where you are expected to vote, where you could fund an appeal. You can see the cases where you won and earned and maybe lost. So yeah, it should, I guess, be more productive for you as a juror. So yeah, it should be just overall much more convenient. We've added other conveniences like a file viewer. So when people upload a document in the evidence, it's going to open inside the app without leaving the web page, without leaving the app. So that should be more convenient. Same thing for the court policies, for example. Another UX improvement is what we call maintenance buttons. So usually for the functioning of the court and the protocol, there's a bot that regularly calls certain functions of the protocol to progress to the next stage. And 99% of the case it works fine, and no one needs to know about it. And once in a while, it doesn't work, or maybe someone would like the whole process to go faster. Like for example, if the gas spikes and the bot might take longer to actually execute and make the dispute progress to the next stage. So now, if someone really wants to pay for that gas and actually take part in this, there will now be a button in the interface somewhere so that's not distracting. We had some discussions about this, whether we should have them at all, whether it would be a distraction. So we think we found a good design for it. So it's like one level down from the dispute page. You'll have a triple dot, you click on it, and you will see different buttons that might be enabled to maybe pass to the next period or draw the jurors. It's completely optional, but in some rare cases where things were not automated as expected or taking a longer time, that's useful. The alternative to this so far was to go on Etherscan and try to guess what function to call on the contracts. So I would say it's nice for the power users of the protocol who don't mind paying a bit of gas. Apart from that, we had some great progress on migrating some dApps to V2. So we have Curate V2 that looks really good. We have the escrow V2, which is completely redesigned. And while doing this, we progressed on the SDK, which is the toolkit that the developers will use to build arbitrable applications on top of Kleros V2. So it's not totally final right now, but it was very useful to migrate those V1 applications to build this SDK, which is a work in progress. So that was for the past weeks and months, I should say. Now, looking forward, the among the many other things that we are doing, there's also Prof Humanity V2 and other things. The most important now to launch V2 is to have the notifications working. So we completely re-architected the backend for this. We wanted to have some like a good foundation to build any backend service that we need for V2 and for other apps going forward, instead of a collection of very diverse tools that were made with different technologies by different people. And so we tried being much more prescriptive, I guess, about how we want the backend services to be built. So going forward, all the notifications for the dApps will be based on this foundation, which we call Atlas. All the automations will also be built on that. And also some API endpoints that are used by our frontends. For example, if you need to upload files to IPFS, if you need to provide some contact details to be notified, if you need to be authenticated to update your contact details, for example. So all of these things will be provided by this new backend once for all the Kleros steps. So we are building this right now with a new team that has joined us a few months ago. And I think they're building the notifications for the Core V2 right now, and I think it's really, really close to being ready. I'd probably see it going live in like, now is what, by October. I think it should go live. And once we have that, we could have the first cases on the Core V2 deployed on Arbitrum 1, which we call Neo. And this court will be used for cases such as the ones that we create for Lemon. So Kleros enterprise sorts of use cases. They are really perfect for the stage that we are in with the Core V2, with Kleros V2, and yeah, I think that's what's coming really soon in the next few weeks.
So in the next few weeks, if I heard correctly, people can put their hands on like, real cases on the Kleros V2. Did you say that?
So within the next few weeks, I would say before DevCon. Before DevCon, I'm hoping that we could have the first Lemon case on the Core V2 on the Neo court on Arbitrum 1. And that some jurors could be drawn for it and get notifications, could stake. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a big announcement. So before DevCon, which is taking place in November, at least we hope we can release our first version of Kleros 2.0 with like real cases. For those who are not in the everyday following Kleros, Kleros Enterprise is like unit that focuses on like real world use cases, like a Kleros for fintech companies, Kleros for governments, Kleros for insurance. So we have been over time explaining different use cases, and some of them are live already. Like the main one now is Lemon, which is a fintech app where a wallet that people can use to store crypto, centralized wallet. And when users have a dispute with the company, they can go to Kleros for a neutral dispute resolution, and then the company will enforce whatever Kleros decides. So these are low value use cases, which is perfect for the use case that V2, Kleros V2 is going to bring in the early days. Can you explain a bit? So, what happens after this first version of V2? I mean, how is the roadmap look like from this new version, this first version, before DevCon 2, what we will consider the full Kleros V2 and the merge?
Yeah. So this new court and those test cases, you could think of this deployment as a court on training wheels, because we don't want to take too much risk. There will be a cap on the maximum amount of PNK that can be staked, that is at risk, you could say, on this new deployment. That will give us time to finalize everything and prepare for an audit, an internal code review, then an audit. We will have the V2 dApps in a testnet available for the community to play with. Right now, those apps are only on the DevNet for internal use, so we haven't made them available as a testnet preview yet, but that could be done. I don't think that those apps, Curate V2, Escrow V2, will go live on Arbitrum 1 before the audit is done. So yeah, once that audit is done, we could have new types of disputes, more disputes, and new dApps sending disputes to Kleros V2. And then in parallel of all of this, we also have some new team members who are working on VIA, which is our bridging solution that will help us to have backward compatibility with the court's V1. So that is also another milestone before completely migrating to the court V2, before merging with the court V2, we could say. And that's probably a few more months away to have VIA. Yeah, probably more like end of this year to have VIA on testnet or beyond.
Good. So for practical purposes, so currently lots of cases that Kleros is resolving are in this are like low value because it's like a consumer claim. So most of the cases, I guess, will be able to be resolved by the version that is going to be released quite soon, hopefully. And as you know, part of the process in those cases happens off-chain. For example, when Kleros makes a ruling for a case that is sent from the Lemon use case, so Kleros makes a decision, and then the enforcement is done by the company off-chain. This is what we call a recognition of jurisdiction integration. So when we work with institutions, the Kleros doesn't control money in an escrow. Kleros produces a decision, which is like a ruling for the case it's solving, and then there is a commitment from the institution, which could be a government, and in the case of Mendoza in Argentina, that is going to use Kleros for neighbor disputes and consumer disputes, or it could be a private company, like the case of Lemon and fintechs and insurance companies and stuff we will announce when the time comes. So this is going to be already big use of the Kleros V2 court, and we will be able to start solving and polishing like front-end problems because people will be using it all the time. And then longer term, well, we will start launching the full version, which can actually handle the higher value cases that Kleros also can solve. So, Jamie, anything else you want to say? It was a really good explanation and very clear for everyone who were waiting for this.
Thanks. really want to thank the whole community for being patient and bearing with us. There's really a lot of things happening at Kleros internally with, if it's not V2, it's another project, another integration, or simply keeping the lights on with the existing deployments.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning that we onboarded a lot of developers recently, and so one of the bottlenecks we had before is that we were like not that many. So now we have a way larger development team, and so this is moving things forward much faster. Maybe can you mention, maybe JB, how does this modular architecture of the court works? So we will be able to add new kind of modules over time. How does this work, and what do we have in plan for that?
All right. So yeah, we have what we call a dispute kit, which allows us to create new mechanisms for various parts of the dispute resolution process. This is where we define how the votes are counted and aggregated. This is where we define who is right, who is wrong, how the appeal funding calculations take place, and this is where we could completely change the rules, basically. And this can be specific to a court. So we could say that this particular dispute kit with this, let's say, one human, one vote. So for example, this is something that we have already implemented, by the way. So it's a dispute kit which will check that as a juror you're registered on proof of humanity, and you only get one vote for a particular round of a dispute. And this is interesting for certain types of disputes, for certain courts. So as an arbitrable project, you could request that your dispute is created in one of those particular courts with one of these particular dispute kits. And we have so many other ideas. William has a ton of them to experiment with SBTs and other things. We could, verify that you hold certain SBTs or NFTs, that you're part of certain communities. And this could affect, how we count different things in the process. It's really a new design space, I suppose.
I mean, like, just a simple example, like why all of this matters. Like, for example, we are speaking with a Ministry of Justice from X country, and so one of the requirements they have for using Kleros is that they want only citizens from that country to be drawn as jurors in the cases that are going to be solved in that court. So we cannot do this with the current version of Kleros. We will be able to do this with a new version of Kleros because of a combination between like a proof of humanity. Then now you can have like one account there, and then you are one person, you have one vote, and then to that account you can add these SBTs, and that represent your citizenship or belonging to that community. Sometimes what people ask us is we want jurors who have certain skills, and those skills can also be represented by SBTs. And so this the lack of these elements is currently a big friction point for the use of Kleros in particular in those like institutional, like more like real world use cases where the logic of the token voting is not sufficient for different reasons. Sometimes it's because compliance reasons, sometimes because of moral reasons about how, or beliefs about how mechanisms should work to be perceived as fair by the partner. So this will unlock, we think, lots of different use cases. And it's also interesting to see how different things start to fall into the right places, right? So we started Kleros. The first version was 2018, Dodges on trial. It was, yeah, very limited, of course, even for passing periods. I mean, I guess only William will remember what it looked like. Then we launched the version that we call the Kleros Liquid, and so that version was, of course, better than the first one, but still had the limitations in the sense of only token voting, stuff like that, because, well, there was no other way to do it. If you don't have a identity protocol on chain, you cannot do much more than just do token voting to prevent the civil attacks. And so proof of humanity was a big part of this new design space, and proof of humanity plus, SBTs and all of the work that William has been doing over the years, and that you can see, for example, in his talk at DevCon Bogota and in his talk at the upcoming DevCon in Bangkok. So all of these are tools that enable us to build new dispute kits, and better dispute kits gives us more flexibility to address a number of more use cases that will bring, basically we can, you ask it, we can give it to you. Now we cannot give you everything because we don't have still the SBTs, but if you want to have a cohort with better jurors by skill or by geographical location, this will happen. So imagine the government of some place will issue an SBT token into like the address, and then that works as a recognition that that address is actually a citizen from that region, and then this allows that person to enter that court to vote there. So these are the type of use cases that will be like enabled by the V2 that we are about to launch, hopefully in a few weeks, with the limitations that JB just mentioned, and for lower value cases and all that. Okay, well, that was the announcement for today. I guess if you guys have any question, maybe we can answer. If you want to ask something. Otherwise, while people ask for the microphone, Marcos, do you want to mention something from business development?
Sorry, I was speaking before, but I think you were not listening to me. So yes, I will.
You were mute, so no.
The video updates. So yeah, in first place, we received the confirmation to create the first pilot case. Now not from Mendoza, but from Cava, Ciudad Buenos Aires City.
Wait, they allow us to make this public first, right?
Sorry?
They did allow us to make this public?
Yeah, they didn't allow us to make an announcement in our communications in LinkedIn. So we are going to create the dispute because we have the okay. We are going to do it tomorrow, most probably, or on Friday. But yes, the idea was to first do a communication in our, like a written communication. We didn't receive that confirmation. Most probably we will do it in the future. But yes, we will create the first pilot case that is already ready. Well, it was ready a few weeks ago. So this is a good news. That's again from Buenos Aires City.
Yeah, let's just ask people who are in the call. I mean, not to mention this too much because but Buenos Aires, we are doing a pilot with the city of Buenos Aires for the use of Kleros.
Yeah, of course, when we create the pilot case, that is going to be public because it's going to be everything that is in the blockchain is public. But yeah, they didn't want for the moment until they receive a confirmation to do a written announcement.
It's not a secret, but just keep it low key for now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Then besides that, we are too working in a second pilot case with Mendoza after the famous document was approved. Well, we are ready to do the second pilot case. That's most probably going to be created in the next week or the other one. And we are going to do a big communication in LinkedIn and in X. That's going to be in next week or in the other one. Then, well, we have another updates. We have Wang Mian, who is in Singapore in the event token 2049. So if someone wants to talk with him, you can just direct message him or put it in the Telegram group, in the Telegram channel. And well, this week we have a few interesting calls. Today, for example, I was in touch with a project that is interested in a P2P marketplace, something very similar to what Paydis is doing in Argentina. And then we have another calls with Federico. I think those are the most important things from the BD team from this week.
Yeah, so if you are in Singapore for the conference, you can meet Wang Yan there, by the way. But you can always, well, not always, but many times meet Wang Yan in Singapore because he's there. But he's in the conference now, so if you happen to be there, you can meet him. Okay, business development going as usual. Okay, I will. Jean, do you have any community things you want to update on?
Yes, you were featured recently on the.
I was what?
On the, you were featured on this podcast by Logos. They are the ones that developed Status, and I did not. This was launched, I believe, 30 minutes ago. I did not watch it yet, but they have been doing pretty good podcasts. And I believe maybe Federico, it would be nice if you could talk about what was discussed.
Yeah, it was a really fun podcast with Jared, who's the founder, the Status Logos, and they well, I mean, it was a very nice conversation that covered like lots of different things. Some of those like more practical from how Kleros started, the vision. I'm not going to repeat everything because otherwise you're not going to listen to the podcast. But about that, how it started, what was the goal I wanted to achieve, and the problem I wanted to solve. I mean, as a poor guy starting from far away Argentina. Before Argentina was cool, also because now, yeah, of course it's cool because of Milei and everything. But when we were starting, it was not cool. So how the project started and how decisions were made at the beginning. And also part of it about network states and more like futuristic discussions about the future of online communities, how these communities can or can't, replace. Well, I don't want to say replace, but complement, like normal jurisdictions. And also, this podcast is intended as well to help promote an event that is going to be a side event at DevCon. It's going to be called Parallel Societies that Logos is organizing. I was invited by them to host a panel there, and we are now defining who will be the participants of the panel. I can't say much for now because it's ongoing. But if you are going to be in DevCon, you can go there. I think I'm not sure about ticket for. I think it's going to be quite crowded, and as it's a really cool event. And we are probably going to also, besides my panel, have a Kleros workshop hosted by Jan, so people can just use Kleros Kurt as we typically do in universities to have people solve cases with their computers. So yeah, that's going to be cool. So but that's the thing with the Logos podcast. I do listen to it. I mean, I was happy. I do a lot of recordings, but I was quite happy with that how it ended. So do listen to that episode. Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
Awesome. Yep, I just would like to mention that we have the incentive program for submissions to Curate that focus on only on a couple of networks and only on contracts that are not tagged yet by the block explorers on that network. So this will really help us expand the quality of our registry, the quantity and quality of our registry. And next week there will be an update on our Kleros Scout MetaMask Snap extension. It's a lot, but basically our MetaMask plugin. And it allows for people to see information about the contract they are interacting with and the domain that they're interacting with directly when you're making a transaction or a signature, because this is a feature that will be launched very soon on MetaMask Snap, and we are be launching. With this feature, we're also launching this capability with them. And the new thing is that you will also be taken from this extension to the Kleros Cloud interface to make a submission if you find, for example, a contract that was not tagged yet. So this is pretty nice, and of course you have an incentive to create these submissions. And there's also the ITQ program where you can basically do the same, but with queries that send lots of entries at the same time. And there's a bonus reward, I believe, for $200 per submission for the first 10 submissions. I think we are halfway there. So really do look into that. And we'll just, I think we need to finish, Federico, with a call for people to stake on the court, just to remember what Alex shared.
Yeah, Alex, we have to do stake in the court. Guys, if you have PNK, there is absolutely no reason why you wouldn't be staking in the court, like, period. Yeah, go ahead. One last thing from me, I think we launched the applications for the fellowship last week. So we had lots of applications. Actually, I think like 15 people already applied. So that's a lot. So this is one of the things that makes me more, happier about the things that we did from the early days of Kleros. We launched this program in 2018. People were telling me, Federico, you're crazy. Who is going to want to do like a fellowship about Kleros? Over time, we had a couple of dozen people doing the program. From that program, we had some very interesting research theses with extremely high impact in the practice of Kleros. For example, the first decision done by Kleros was enforced by a state court in Mexico, was part of our research that was done in the context of the fellowship. So do not think that doing the fellowship don't have any practical impact. Because it can have a world-changing impact based on that. So you can do whatever you want to research, whatever you think that you can apply with the ideas about the use of Kleros in lots of different things. So, for example, some of the things I have been personally researching a lot recently, and is also connected to the videos that were just uploaded last week about Kleros. The conferences that we attended in Neuchâtel. One of them is Kleros in the context of esports and gaming. As you know, lots of disputes happening in this industry. So we organized last May alongside WIPO, the Property Organization, and which is a branch of the UN, and also with the University of Neuchâtel, conference, the first ever conference on dispute resolution in esports. And the videos are out and you can watch them, and it's like I think a 6-hour stream of lots of people who actually are working on that industry, resolving real disputes happening in the context of esports, disputes about cheating, disputes about intellectual property, disputes about commercial contracts and stuff like that. So do watch that. And then the day after that, in the same university, there was another conference about dispute resolution in social media. This is something that we even mentioned in the first Kleros paper back in 2017. So that's something we have been following for a long, long time. And it seems that the time is coming for that application to happen. As you might see, if you just open any social media app, everything is about free speech, content moderation. You saw the founder of Telegram, one of things that were accused of not enforcing content moderation standards in Telegram. Well, so Elon Musk, Twitter. So this is like a huge deal. It's something we have been following for a long, long time. And do watch my talk and all of the other talks. But in my talk, I explain a bit the experiments we've done in the past with content moderation. One of them was PITIA, which is kind of a decentralized community node that was enforced by the community with some curation. And then the other one is the SUSI, the Kleros moderate. And well, this is something that I think is going to take off in the future, so you can watch those talks. And like in the social media event, one of the other speakers was a person who works at the oversight board of Meta. So Meta built this board to decide hard cases of content moderation, cases affecting human rights, cases affecting whether situations where there are fake news. For example, well, lots of disputes happened in the context of COVID, of what information should or not be allowed to be spread through Meta. So yeah, do watch that talk to see how important it is for these companies to have a neutral resolution process, because they don't want to be in the position of having to deal themselves with very hard decisions. So it's better for those decisions to be made by the community, because this is seen as more legitimate by users. I think that's it. Jean, do we have anything else today? I think we've had enough. But I don't know, anything else we want to mention?
Yeah, I think we already had lots of updates. So maybe I would invite people to go to our Telegram group, because there's anything that we missed, we will probably share on the group.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, hopefully you like the news. You have been expecting it for a while. And sorry for the delays. We were a bit short-handed, but now it's happening. I will let the start of the day, JB, maybe to give you the final words for today's presentation, if you want.
I hope everyone on this call will get a chance to use the Cord V2 Neo, and you will have fun using it. I think the UX is quite fun. So yeah, stay in touch.
Have fun while delivering justice for the world and earning money through the rewards. I mean, that should be the motto. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Everybody.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye, guys.